Welcome into the Cam and Strick Podcast, episode number 58. What's up, Cam Jansen?
What up? What's up?
I mean, are you one of those guys that get scared by storms?
No, I love them.
I was driving through a storm the other day, and the radio cut out, and all of a sudden they had like an alert of like flash flooding, crazy thunderstorms, tornado warnings, like driving through the middle of Indiana. Which I don't know if anyone's ever driven through Indiana. I don't even know if I ever have, to be honest. But to get to where we are right now, we had to drive through the state of Indiana. This shit was crazy. I'd never been more freaked out driving through a rainstorm as I was just yesterday.
Yeah, man, it was nasty. You get caught in that. I'm not necessarily too scared of tornadoes. I think they're very interesting. But I take them seriously. I do. I take them very seriously. Because they will come, and the night ones are a lot more horrifying, in my opinion. But yeah, yesterday was pretty fucked up. It came down hard yesterday, man.
How's your house hunting going?
I don't know. It's going. We were a little depressed yesterday, cruising around. I mean, you really, honestly, and I'll give you this. You really have to go look yourself, because fucking photos do no justice, man. I mean, they honestly don't. You could make anything look exceptionally nice and then get there and you're like, oh, fuck. Like, what? So sometimes it's hit or miss, man. And but yesterday was a little bit of a downer when it comes to that. But that's okay, man. There's a lot more out there, and we're taking our time.
Anything catching your eye in the hockey world right now, Cam? I mean, it seems like the Boston Bruins, they got all these unfit to play. We don't even know what the fuck that means. I mean, he may have an ankle injury or a mosquito bite for all we know. But everyone assumes he's got COVID, I guess.
Jesus Christ. How confusing is that? They're going to have to – what's the reasoning exactly behind that, Andy? They're keeping it so cryptic. Why do they have to do that?
I think the players wanted their privacy, which – listen, I can respect that. I guess if you have COVID-19, you don't want people to know. Would you want people to know, Cam? If you had COVID after your weekend at the lake?
Fuck. I didn't go to the lake, Dick. Don't put me in that fucking category, for one. That's how rumors get started, asshole. But no, I would not. I absolutely would not. Now, look, you have to tell people. My inner circle would know, but I certainly wouldn't want to post it on Twitter or anything like that to get everybody involved. For me, I'd be like, no, just let me get right. And then, fuck, I'm good. And then I'm not telling anybody.
Listen, I'm up in Wisconsin. Okay, a few days on the lake. You get so serious, Cam. I told you the other day that I'm getting on a boat today. I said, listen, I'm going to rent a boat. You got so angry. Like, what the hell is wrong with you?
Here's why.
Why can't I rent a boat without you going crazy on me?
Because you don't know how to fucking drive it. And you're the motherfucker that fucking has his fucking bumpers swaying in the wind, that goes 30 miles an hour, packed in a no-wake fucking zone because you don't know how to drive a fucking boat. So my point was, go and find somebody and have somebody drive you, or whatever the case is. If that's a busy lake, then you're doing everybody a disservice. If it's a big lake, not too many people are on it, then yeah, go out there and cruise around. But if it's a busy ass lake and you're flying around not knowing what you're doing, then you're just a jackass.
What do I need to know? Like, seriously, how hard is it to drive a boat? How hard is it?
Fucking hard. Try to dock it, man. I can't. Hey, have your wife film you try to dock to get gas, and see how you fucking lay it in there, and see how you know where to put the bumpers, where to do this, the lights. I mean, there's a lot to it, man. How to read people, how to come across a cove and not like be too close to the shoreline so another boat comes up and you're going right off the fucking shoreline. I mean, there's a lot of shit, Andy. Fuck, it's like jumping in a car, not knowing what the fuck you're doing.
Should I do a speedboat? I have options, by the way.
I do a pontoon, man. I do a pontoon
really?
boat. Yeah,
that was my other option. I thought you would give me shit if I said pontoon.
No, it's nerdy, but they're comfortable, man. And if it's got a find one with a bigger motor on the back. I mean, it's tough to do. They probably only have like 70 horse or whatever. But at least pontoons, if it's a busy lake, the water hits it and it's a nice smooth ride. And you could hide easier from the weather elements like rain and shit. And it's nicer for the kids to walk around on it. And you can put coolers. I don't know. It's more comfortable.
The lady said, have you ever driven a boat? Like, I was the worst liar. I was like, yes.
Because you're old enough. Look, I had to get my license. I had a boat for 10 years, and all of a sudden they fucking put a rule in there where I had to go back and take my a course online. And it was pretty difficult, man. I'm not gonna lie to you. But yeah, you're already past that point. So you're the dipshit with the fucking bumpers cruising around, flapping in the wind that we used to make fun of back in the day.
Yeah, so be it.
Yeah, whatever.
Listen,
you gotta learn somehow, man. I guess
we're entering the crucial week in hockey here, Cam. This is the week. It's like make or break it. Can they get to the hub cities or not? We're gonna find out.
That's the key.
Very,
that's
very
the key.
soon.
Yeah, that's the key, man. They just get there, and they'll be fucking Biodome, and that's a stupid ass movie, but that's what they're gonna do, and they're gonna close the fucking gates, and they're like, okay, here you go, and if you get knocked out in a week, then fucking here, we're gonna open the gates up. You're gone. See you later. So yeah, man, if they get to that fucking hub city, I think those guys are gonna be able to be like, okay, cruise control, chill. Don't worry about anything else. Just get this shit done. We're here. Suck it up. Let's go.
Listen, I think we kind of touched on this before, but the analysis that's going into these playoff series, I mean, people are breaking it down like the season just ended like 3 days ago. And like, however you were playing when the pause began is exactly how you're going to pick up and play right now. So if you had the best power play back in March, you automatically have the best power play now. If you are hot in March on a scoring streak, you're going to pick right back up where you left off. It's like, I don't understand how people are trying to analyze these series. It's like a completely new season, Cam.
That's why we don't do it. That's why I'm not doing it. I mean, it's just that simple. I don't know. I mean, who the fuck really knows? Who knows how people are feeling? No one. It's not like anybody's really watching these guys even skate right now. You have like 5 people watching. I don't know how you can evaluate them whatsoever. It's a completely different story. It's a new year, maybe the same players, but it's a completely different animal, man. In my opinion, I think we're going to get surprised. I don't know, but I think a team that it's going to come out of the woodworks that we're not thinking of right now, like a Columbus or something that's just going to be like, fuck, we're just disciplined and everybody's good enough to win this damn thing, especially in this kind of setup. We just are willing to do it because when we're down by 2, we want to win the cup probably a little bit more, like you said, Andy, than maybe Washington Capitals team or a Pittsburgh team. But I don't know. You can't count out Pittsburgh either because Sidney Crosby wants to win as many as he can. So I don't know, man. Again, it's going to be unique. But fuck, are we going to have a lot of hockey in our face? Boom.
No doubt. I just saw this video, by the way. Did you see that video of TJ Oshie? He was mic'd during practice.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Was he always like that? I mean, how fun of a teammate is this guy? I mean, here he is now in his mid-30s, or he's approaching his mid-30s. He's the same guy he was when he was 20 years old.
He's a kid, man. He's just a kid. He's always had that. He's never in a bad mood. Like, I never see him really, like, break his stick or just anything like that. Even in practice, like, sometimes in games when he can't get a shot off on a power play or whatever the fuck. I mean, yeah, you get pissy, but I've never seen that kid just with a scowl on his face or just like kind of not cheery, not happy. I don't know. That's contagious, man. When you have a guy like that that's a leader on the team that everybody respects, looks up to, and he's fucking smiling all the time, and he's happy, and you're a third-line guy or a fourth-line guy or a backup goalie, and you see your leader smiling and happy, but you're fucking pissy, no, doesn't work that way. When your older guys and your leaders are that way, it's contagious throughout your team, man. That's why they're so damn good, because Ovi's like that too, and so is Tommy Wilson. All the big boys are. They're all happy as shit.
How much fun was Oshie having as a young player?
Oh,
as a young kid when he came into the league, how much fun did that kid have?
Like, too much fun. I mean, just like I did, like, too much fun. Like, you needed a fucking sit down. You needed to have somebody in control of you a little bit at that age, man. And, you know, he had his buddies around and stuff like it. He was having fun, man, and he was still dominating, but you know he had to tone it down, dude. Oh yeah, fucking A. He had to tone it down, just like a lot of players have. And look at him now. I mean, he could have gone in a different direction. You know, he's that good, but don't get me wrong. Like, you could still fucking bury yourself. And you know, he was getting after for a while there, but fuck, man, he figured it out. And now he's just cruising, doing his shit.
He is.
He
can do whatever the hell he wants now, man.
I know.
But he really has. Like, he's even when he was having fun here in St. Louis, he was always the hardest working player on the ice, though, like in practice. So for the most part, it was a non-issue, unless he missed practice. Maybe it became an issue then, but this guy's had a great career.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, you just sit back and all of a sudden you see how long these guys have been in the league right now. Like no surprise that kid has had the career he's had and is just having fun, man. I just love it. We need more personality in the National Hockey League, Cam.
Oh, no
and he
shit.
brings it, but I don't think he shows it enough. Like you see these guys when they're mic'd, they're having fun on the ice, whatever, and then all of a sudden you see them when they get off the ice and they do these interviews. Like, why don't they bring the same personality when they're in front of the cameras?
Dude, that is such a good point. Or on any of these radio interviews, man, radio, TV, they are right back into robot mode. Boom, back into robot mode. Like they're cruising around. He and Willie, they're tapping each other in a ball sack and in warm-ups, like fucking like groping each other. All the women are going fucking nuts. And then like they win by 6. He's got 4 goals. And then you interview him. He's like, yeah, the boys played well. Yeah, the boys played well, and it's a good teamwork, and well, we do it for the team, and just fucking say something.
Right.
Say I look fucking good, my hair looks fucking good, women want me, and I just fucking put fucking 4 on the board. I'm a fucking pimp. Say that, and then and people will fucking love it. It's not always about the team. Talk about yourself once in a while, Osh. Good Lord.
There's a lot of talk right now about how much we're going to hear these players on the ice. I mean, I love John Tortorella. John Tortorella, by the way, I used to not be able to stand John Tortorella.
I like him.
Now I'm starting to like John Tortorella. And he and I have talked a little bit trying to get him on the podcast. He is going to come on here. I can't wait to when we get him on.
Oh,
but
my God.
They asked this guy the other day about the cursing on the ice. He's like, I don't really give a shit.
What the fuck does he care about that for?
Best answer ever.
He doesn't give a fuck. That guy is looking at this whole situation like, let's go. Let's go. My team's fucking disciplined. I got warriors on my team. No one's even talking about us. No one's even looking at us. That's like the best spot to be in. Lou Lamoriello's thinking the same damn thing too. Like, no one talk about us. No one look at us. We're just going to sneak by and we're going to be fucking in people's faces before you know it. John Tortorella doesn't give a fuck. Now, within saying that, the cameras, everything is going to be amplified, man. And sometimes when you get cross-checked in the back of the head, something pops in your head that you usually wouldn't fucking say, and you say it out of pure emotion. That could be a tricky situation sometimes, Andy. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes it just flies. Whatever that something is, that could put you in a jam.
Would you cross the line?
Well, I don't know, Andy. Cross-check me in the back of the fucking head and see what happens. Like, I don't know. Like, you know what? You guys, like you don't know. Like, you don't, again, it's not like, oh, he struck me out and gave me a dirty look. No, this guy just cross-checked me in the back of the fucking head. My face hit the fucking dasher. I got 40 down my fucking forehead. I'm going to say something horrible to you. Yeah. Whatever that could be, I don't know if you'll be able to control it. Sometimes.
I hope they don't hold back, man. I hope they're
not going to.
And they won't, because they're going to be in the moment. And they
Thank you.
If they want to do this without fans in the stands, then you got to live with some shit. And if cursing is one of it, and your kids get upset, so fucking be it. There's no fans in the stands. You may hear something.
So it's one or the other. You want these guys to go out there and bring it and say, you want us to play in this tournament like it's that meaningful? Then we can't worry about what the fuck we're saying here and there. Like, oh, no, just fucking go. Let the experts deal with that. Edit out whatever you have to edit out. Be on the ball. But, man, these guys just got to – I don't give a shit. They got to focus on the task in hand, and it's not what the fuck they're saying.
Yeah. All right, Mike Peca.
For the most part. Don't say stupid shit. Don't get me wrong. Always have that in the back of your head. Don't say too many stupid things. But don't also make it affect your game. Go ahead, Andy.
Yeah,
sorry.
Yeah. All right, we got it. All right, Mike Peca. This guy, somebody brought it to my attention. They said, hey, you should have this dude on. He's got a great story. You forget the story that Michael Peca has, dude. I mean, his career is as interesting, really, as any player we've had on here, man. I mean, you really break down his career. How many guys hold out for an entire year? I completely forgot that he missed a full season, Cam, because of a contract negotiation. And you're about to learn right now during the course of this interview some of the shit that went on during the course of that year between him and ownership, and the fact that he was skating at the same rink as where his team was practicing, and the coach would pull him into the closet after practice, be like, dude, we need you to sign. His story and I mean this, dude, as interesting maybe as any player we've had on here.
And, and he's got sex appeal too. See, you look at it, you could break it down on that shit. This guy's got sick hair. He was a fucking warrior, another stud. That's what I like to look for. I like to look for those studs. Now, I like Michael Peca, man. Like, he was down to earth, cool cat. Loved the way he played. Like, I remember when you're growing up, like, he and Shane Corson, those kind of guys, when you're growing up, like, fuck, these guys are unbelievable. Like, they go 100 miles an hour, monster missile hits, fight toe-to-toe, don't give a shit, lead by example. Fucking just cool hockey players, man. And I don't know, they're fun to interview, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, I mean, plus he played for Team Canada, won a gold medal there. He's, a two-time Selke winner. Like, the dude has a resume, like a legit resume. Been to the Stanley Cup final twice. Yeah, he had a hell of a career. And people are going to be like, okay, they got Michael Peca on. This might be good. Give a listen, dude. No, this is a great listen. He was unbelievable with us, and his career, man, he was a star in a different way. We try to bring variety on here, Cam, like different types of players, guys who have different backgrounds, whatever. Like, we haven't had a player like this guy. This guy's different.
Yeah, he is different. And he's kind of been out of the limelight too, a spotlight a little bit. He's not. I don't hear about him much. It's like he was so big and popular when he played, and all of a sudden I'm like, where'd he go? So when you brought that up that we were going to get him on, I'm like, oh yeah, fucking Peca. And then you look at his highlights, you're like, oh shit, yeah, this guy was fucking.
He used to crush guys.
Murder guys,
hitters. There's nobody in the game like that anymore. Who hits that besides Tommy Wilson? Who else hits? Reaver?
Yeah, I'm not even counting Reaver for anything anymore, dude. I just like, he's just his own little thing.
What do you mean?
Reaver's just like the last of the guys, man, and he's still just doing it. So I look at Michael Peca kind of like if Ryan O'Reilly was crushing guys,
Right.
Think about it. How about Sammy Blayton rocks guys, dude? You can't. I mean, he does, and he's pretty skilled. But Michael Peca is a better skater, probably better. He's a top center. I don't know. There's not many. You can't compare. It's hard.
No. It'd be like Patrice Bergeron just going out and just leveling guys.
There it is. I guess Marchand in a way is like that,
yeah, he is.
There's some guys.
I like Marchand, dude. Everyone crushes him. He's got a brand. Dude. Anybody who's got a brand to how they play, dude, he's got an individual brand, dude. Nobody else plays his way.
I would take him on my team. Like, oh my God, yeah, dude. All those guys, man. Warriors. Love all those Warriors, dude.
Listen, if you want to be a warrior, I got to introduce this new sponsor. We have, technically, they don't really join us till next week, so we won't go on too long about it. But hockeytraining.com, Cam, this had your name written all over it because I know see you fucking logging in and being like, ooh, like secretly doing workouts at your house, trying to improve your men's league game, dude. You want to be a great men's league player. There's no question about it. And you try harder than most people out there. Here is a link for you to check out, Cam, to try to improve your overall skill. It's never too late, and it's called hockeytraining.com.
Look, it's not like I want to become a great men's league player. I am a great men's league player. I want to be the best men's league player. Okay? That's why I want to get on this bad boy. When we play hockey, Andy, that we look forward to it. That's our escape. That's our fun. So when you play better and you're good out there and you score a nice goal, it makes the experience that much better. So why wouldn't you want to do a little bit of workout to help you for what you do right now? I know it sounds somewhat like, why would you want to work out and play in the men's league? Because whenever I play, it makes me happy. And the happier I am, the better I play, the happier I get afterwards. So it all kind of coexists together. It's pretty cool, man. Very unique, cool setup they got going here.
Oh, yeah. No, they got a bunch of stuff, though, for the minor hockey player, the youth hockey player. If you're a beginner, if you're an advanced player, like, you customize a program. And this is off-ice stuff. They're going to be bringing some on-ice stuff, too, if you want to improve your hands and some stuff like that. But if you want to get stronger and improve your game, if you're a hockey parent out there, and you say, hey, little Johnny or Susie, man, maybe we can't afford to go to the gym. Maybe I don't have time to take little Susie or Johnny to go to the gym 3 times a week because I got to work. Well, now you just bring the program, you bring it to your house. They do it at home. Easy to follow along video. But when they do videos for men's league players, and if you're a men's league player that can improve your game and be stronger and train like a hockey player, I'm like, dude, people are going to eat this up.
Absolutely.
Where else can you do that?
Look, these men's league guys take it more serious than than the fucking NHL guys sometimes. It's crazy. So if they can get the edge on you, it's just a cool concept, man. It really, really is. We're excited that they jumped on board. And it just, I mean, it worked. Look, it just works out, man. It's just it's kind of like a perfect sponsor for us, you know?
Oh, it is. It is. So we'll be telling you about that, hockeytraining.com. And be sure to check that out. And get the training package that you need for your kid or for yourself. If you're a men's league player, if you're shitty, if you suck on Wednesday nights, don't suck. What did Alex Ovechkin say?
Don't suck.
Don't suck no more. Don't fuck suck. Whatever you want to say.
What are you talking about? Don't
Alex
suck.
Ovechkin. Remember he said at the parade after they won, "We don't suck no more. We don't suck no more."
Yeah, we don't suck
so
no
don't,
more.
So don't.
Well, yeah,
suck
don't
no
suck. Oh, Jesus, Andy. I get what the fuck you're saying. Good Lord,
right.
You botched that one.
Hey, as always, this is brought to you by CarShield and CarShield.com. 800-857-2481. 800-857-2481. Mention the promo code CAM and you'll save 10%. And again, CarShield.com, that's the website. Now, Cam, if you're fucking around, all of a sudden you've got a car that goes out, your computer goes out, the engine goes out. We've been telling people about this for months now. Don't be stuck on the side of the road. Have the right protection. And the way you do that is by going to carshield.com. It costs only a couple bucks per month. Not expensive at all. Customize your package. Take your car to wherever you want to take it to get it fixed. They hook you up with a rental car. This is like the best company I think I've ever heard of, to be honest with you, Cam, in terms of what you need to make you take a deep breath and relax and know everything's going to be okay if your car starts to fall apart.
Yeah, man. And I like my life to be as simple as possible. So when shit does fuck up, which it does all the time, I don't care where you're at. Like, I don't care what kind of car you have. Like, shit goes down. And I just know that I'm in a good spot. I make a phone call. Everything's easy. Take the car or truck wherever you decide you want to take it. There's a place down the road. If you don't like that place down the road, you want to go somewhere else. And then it's just that simple, man. They'll give you a rental car. Again, simplifying your daily life. That's what I go for. And it's easy, it's cheap, and it's the best way to go.
800-857-2481, carshield.com. How about Gadget Lab and gadgetbuyback.com? We've been telling you about this as well. If you're a business owner out there, your company has tablets, they have phones, they may be getting old. Who else out there is willing to pay you good money for your old products and allow you to trade them in and then upgrade so you can run your company more efficiently? Gadgetbuyback.com, that's the website. Check that out. 877-772-8880. Again, 877-772-8880. GadgetLabMobile.com, that's the website if you want to check out their St. Louis store in Oakville. Just your phone in there. You got a cracked screen, cracked tablet. Even your Apple Watch isn't working right. Take it in there. They'll fix it while you wait. GadgetLabMobile.com for the local store, or GadgetBuyback.com if you want to upgrade and trade your products in. And they pay top dollar, Cam, do they not?
Yeah, man, they do. And don't slow your damn business down because you're cheap. And you have these old-ass tablets, and everybody's like, what the fuck? What am I supposed to do? It's still loading. It's still loading. Stop being cheap. Stop being cheap. Send those in. They'll hook you up. They'll make everything, again, simplifying your life. Sometimes you got to do what you got to do to make a lot of things that much easier in the workplace. Also, all you dummies with the cracked phone and you're trying to like go to a job interview or talk to a female, they're going to be like, go fuck yourself, cracked phone boy. Don't pull that bullshit. Get that bad boy fixed.
That's right. 877-772-8880. Bellman.com. BEHLMANN.com. I mean, the only place you should be considering if you're looking for a pre-owned car, I'll tell you that right now. Their inventory is sick right now.
Oh, yes.
They've got the Cadillac Buick GMC on one side of the road, the Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram on the other side, all in Troy, Missouri. And their website lays it out for you, Bellman.com. You can check out all their inventory there.
Man, oh man. I mean, nothing like, hey, I tell you what, even like that big ass storm last night, I'm glad I had my big truck. Like, I'm just glad I had big tires on it. Just, I felt safe, man. They have it all over there. Whatever you're looking for, Andy likes those pink 2-liter Jeeps. They'll have it. They'll have it. I like the shit-kicking Jeeps, those SRTs that are bad to the bone with dual exhaust, and, you know, you look kind of cool in them, but whatever floats your boat. They got it all. Very, very lovely people there, too. Your wife can go buy a car. and not have like a bunch of fucking Pepe Le Pews coming out swinging their dicks around. None of that shit. None of that shit. Your wife feels comfortable in there. That's what I look into, and that's certainly at Bellman.
What's a Pepe Le Pew?
Pepe Le Pew?
What the fuck is that?
You ever watch cartoons back in the day? It was that skunk that like molested the little kitty cat all the time.
Yes.
And he's like, "Ooh, come here, ooh, my dog, like just a fucking creep. You're a fucking creep. Pepe Le Pew is a fucking creep."
Well, don't be one. Don't be a Pepe Le Pew.
I can't believe you didn't know who that was.
Well, I know the name. I couldn't remember what he was. All right, Mike Peca, dude. This is episode number 58. And just a great player, man. He's so smart.
Hell yeah.
Somebody hire this guy and make him a GM or president of hockey. Like, he's probably the smartest former player that's sitting out there right now, outside of maybe Chris Pronger, who like studies the CBA and certainly like knows the CBA as well as any current player. Like, he reads this shit, which you never read, Cam. You have no idea.
No idea.
No clue.
Cam, tell me about article page 6 in there. No, I'm not going to tell you anything. Go.
No. All right, Mike Peca, this guy was really good. Enjoy it on episode number 58 of the Cam and Strick Podcast.
You got a great story to tell. Had a great career. So what are you doing now? I know you were doing some coaching. Did you own a junior team in the OJ, or were you managing it? What were you doing there?
No, the OJHL team was actually owned and operated by the Sabres alumni. Grant Legend and I played for. Done that a few years before I got involved, so it was nice, after retirement, running the junior team, and we seemed to have some success. A lot of great young local players, so it was enjoyable.
So now you're, and are you still doing that or no? I mean, like coaching though for you, because you always seem like a pretty intense player, right? I mean, outside of the fact that you would just blow people up and just destroy people in the open ice, but I mean, did you have patience for young players? Was that hard for you?
No, I totally did. I mean, for the young guys, I mean, I had a son playing when I was also coaching his team, and I actually enjoyed some of the basic instruction and development stuff. I found doing that along with coaching the junior team gave me a little bit more appreciation and allowed me to help these guys even a little bit more. So I think you get into junior and, you get into, the game and the strategy and special teams and all this different stuff. But you got to remember how important development still is at that age. And so being able to do the two at the same time was good. And then after 2 years, John Tucker, a former Sabre player, moved into town, and I let him coach the team. I managed it for another couple of years, and then just stepped away and focused more on the Junior Sabres youth program we had started.
Coaching juniors got to be the best, though. You can relate to the guys. You can kind of say what you want to them for the most part, as far as them not being young. They're turning into men. Maybe some of them start making money. You could teach them different things with that. I mean, that's got to kind of be the best league to coach, in my opinion.
It is. I mean, it's such a great age group. You're from 6-year-old to 20-year-olds. And, the kids I coached, predominantly, they all play college hockey. So it was good to start to teach the older guys to be a little bit more responsible, off the ice in the locker room, because they're going to be what the 16, 17-year-old kid are to them now that they were before. And so there's just a lot of life skills and preparation stuff aside from the hockey stuff that was a lot of fun to teach the kids.
All right, so let's go back to when you were a kid. You're growing up. You're in Toronto. You're playing. You're a big dog. You're on a great team there playing minor hockey. And listen, I talked to guys who played against you and guys who played with you too, man. It just sounds like, you were just a good player from the very start at a young age. Like, did you just fall in love with the game at a young age? I mean, how did hockey and you kind of mesh together?
Yeah, I think like most kids that skate, I mean, I started skating when I was two and a half. They just started me at the same time as my older brother, who's a couple years older than me. So I think I just took a liking to it. But I think you start to fall in love as you start watching. I mean, I watched, Saturday night hockey, the Leafs growing up, and so started to really love the game. But I really started to love playing it at about 10 years old. I had a youth hockey coach, Keith Armstrong was his name, and Kevin Weeks and I actually played together. And he in some funny way, had us just organically fall in love with the game. Not just kids playing the game and falling in love with it. He made us love being around our teammates. He made us love interacting with our teammates. He taught us how to be humble, because we did have a good team. We had some good young players, especially at like 10, 11 years old. he taught us how it was more about the team. And then, a large group of those guys continue to play on together. And then, our minor midget junior draft year, we were really, really good because we were just so close and, so in tune with each other.
God, you started skating at 2? I don't even think I was fucking walking at 2, right? 2? How do you even do that? I mean, geez Louise.
I never believed my dad, but the only video I saw is I had a pair of jeans on, some skates, wasn't moving much. I had a big wet spot right in my groin area. So.
Oh, you pissed yourself.
It must have been cold. Must have been cold.
When did you start?
Hey, everything he did was advanced. He started driving at 8.
Oh,
I mean, he took his first college course. He's one of those kids. At
he is
14 years of age, just like tested into college.
Oh my God!
Everything was advanced for you.
So
Mike.
you're the complete opposite of me. That's all I got to say. Right on. Well, when did you start really crushing guys? I mean, when did you start getting that into you? Was it like you hit puberty and you're like, oh, I'm a great skater, I'm powerful, I'm going to start just absolutely crushing these guys and giving me a little more space?
Well, I mean, back when I was a kid, I think it started minor PU, so I think it was 12 going on 13 years old, and that was right in the thick of, Wendell Clark joining the Toronto Maple Leafs, and I just loved watching him steamroll guys.
Oh, God.
So a lot of stuff I learned, whether it was through hockey, whether it was tennis, whatever I played, I'd mimic. So, you can't obviously at a young age pick up the technique of a hockey hit. All I saw was Wendell Clark skating full speed into people. And, I was always blessed to have a pretty good sense of balance. So I just loved it. I think the first couple times you do it, you see the reaction you get from your teammates in the bench. And then you elevate, and then it's all about targeting the biggest guy on the ice and trying to knock him on his butt. So it just grew, man. It was ingrained as part of my character and my personality, and I love to do it.
But I look at you, Mike, though, and even when you roll through town and just see you in the dressing room, watching you play up close and personal, like you're not the biggest guy, but you would just blow people up who were bigger than you. Like,
best.
Is it a technique? Like, what made you such a good hitter and just had the want to go out and play that style?
I think sometimes you're just lucky to have I think just some of the mechanics of the way my body worked. I think I was just able to generate just by fluke, power from the ground up when I hit guys. And, there's obviously some times where, if your timing's off just a hair, you might be in the air just a little bit at impact because it's that fine of a line. But I think, if a lot of people that know me know that my lower body strength was really high. I was really, really strong lower body. And I think, using my legs and, just impact, tightening up my upper body allowed me to just be literally like a cannonball running into people.
Yeah, you were. Did you ever do? So I know the injuries always come, but did you ever feel like you got hurt more when you were trying to hit somebody and they step away and you go into the boards 100 miles an hour, right? I mean, those are the scariest injuries for me, when the guy kind of slips away from me and you crash into boards 500 miles an hour.
Yeah, that happened to me a couple times. More like they duck and I trip over their feet and go, head first, and that could be pretty scary. But I mean, the worst ones for me is I try to be deceptive with it and, time it at the right possible moment. But it's the guys that, and I do it to other guys too, is a dirty shoulder. The guys that make it look like they're not expecting it, and then they harden up on you at the last second. Those are the ones that sting sometimes even more than the boards.
Oh yeah, TJ Oshie's so good at that. And
it'll ruin your game.
Oh yeah, and just I mean, almost like break your jaw.
Break your fucking sternum.
But why'd you fall to the second round? Because it seems like you. I mean, listen, you played World Juniors and all that. It doesn't mean not the second round picks don't play in the World Junior Championships, but by all accounts, you were a great junior player. Were you a little bit of a late developer, or what led to you fall to the second round?
No, it was a funny year. So my junior draft year, I started in Sudbury, and I was playing on the third line as a left winger, and I was third on the team in scoring. And then at the trade deadline, Ottawa felt like they needed a goalie, so I got traded to Ottawa and became a centerman. And I think, Brian Kilray did a great job developing me. I'd never played center in my life. I was a winger my whole life. So I think it's a combination of a couple of things. One, it was one of the very first heavy European drafts. I think half the first round were Eastern Europeans, and that's just that was just the way it was going. And I think part of it too is I think people saw a pretty good player, but they weren't quite sure what position that player was yet. And so may have just went in the second round for part of that reason.
You had some amazing play. I mean, like, doing some research. I don't know if Cam did any, but
get the fuck out of here. I do. Where's your notes at, by the way? I have a computer.
They're in my head.
Fuck. Well,
but I mean, you love to hit. And listen, I mean, you're a great player too. You score some goals. You put up points. Captain of multiple teams. Went to the Stanley Cup final a couple times. But like, you look at some of the highlights that come up right away, and it's the hit on Solani, it's the hit on Ty Domi. I mean, you look back on it, like those type of hits. How proud are you of the fact that you kind of played a style of hockey that we don't see a whole lot nowadays?
No, it's you just don't see much physical play at all. I think a lot of it's around the boards. There might be some finishing hits, but I think I'll get back to your question, but I think part of when the game started to transition into a less physical game, into the suspension, like even for myself, when I stopped putting myself, that stuff on the line, and with the hits and stuff, I found it had an adverse effect on my game. Like I had to play on that edge, and when I stopped doing it, it just affected my whole game. So, but I think the thing, like even with the Solani hit, I think that was like my introduction to the league. Like, I was a rookie in Vancouver, and that was kind of how I ingratiated myself with the team, the fans, and but it was funny because the rest of that year I fractured my cheekbone on the play, so I missed 6 weeks. And when I came back, if I didn't knock somebody out with a body check, and again, I'm 5'11" and a half, and I was 175 pounds my rookie year. Ricky Lee, our head coach, would look at me and say, "Hey kid, what's going on?" Like he was wondering if there was something wrong with me because I wasn't knocking somebody out with a body check every game I play, which was, a different experience for me because I did always hit guys, but I'd been predominantly an offensive player pretty much my whole life.
The Cam and Strick Podcast is brought to you by CarShield. Nothing more frustrating, Cam, than when that engine light comes on and right off the bat, you're going to have to spend thousands of dollars to repair your vehicle. Call 800-857-2481. Mention the promo code CAM or visit carshield.com and use the code CAM to save 10%. Yeah. That's carshield.com. A deductible may apply. Save yourself money. Sign up and get your coverage now with carshield.com. Now back to the interview.
What do you say to these kids, though, when you teach them? I mean, I remember adjusting my game. The back check hits, you can't do them anymore. When the guy would come and he'd dump the puck in, he'd turn to go to change, and all of a sudden you catch him.
You caught Matthias Olin doing that once, too.
But you can't do that. Now you can't do that stuff. Like, you got to take a couple of those away, man. And what do you teach these kids on hitting?
Well, I mean, in retrospect, when you go through it and you have a couple concussions yourself, you see is it a necessary hit or an unnecessary hit? And I think I think some of mine were, necessary in the moment, but the way the hit kind of took place, like the Olin one, probably wasn't a necessary hit. So, the main thing I try and teach the kids is more of a Pavel Datsyuk type checking mentality, because a lot of these kids need to learn to use their body to get pucks back because it's such a puck possession game.
Yeah.
The big hits are great if you can time them. I find very few kids can now time them, especially in the open ice. But I really do want them to finish their checks. You don't want these kids, if they go on to play, get suspended. So it's, hands down, stick on the ice. But most importantly, teaching them how to use their body and their sticks to check and get pucks back.
All right, so you get drafted by Vancouver, you come into the NHL at a young age, and then you get traded. Like, what led to the trade, and did that kind of rock your world a little bit from a confidence standpoint, being a young guy, going to a new organization, and I would imagine that kind of caught you off guard?
It did. It caught me off guard because I found I was in town. I was still in Vancouver at the time after my rookie year, and I got a call at like 10 a.m. from my father to ask me when I was coming home. I'm like, well, I told you a couple of days ago I was coming home next week. He goes, no, you just got traded. I said, I did? I said, where'd you hear that? He goes, your aunt was in the grocery store and saw it on the TV in the grocery store and said that you just got traded. It's the big TSN breaks the trades thing. So needless to say, I get a call a little while later and, found out that I did get traded. And I think what it got down to is Pat Quinn really wanted Alexander McGillney in Vancouver to play with Pavel. And, I think for me, looking back, it was a tremendous opportunity, to get into an organization, play for Ted Nolan right away and under John Muckler, and really get an opportunity to play. Because as a young player in the league, more than anything, as much as I did not want to leave Vancouver, it's just a great town for a lot of reasons. I knew I was going into a position where I was going to get an opportunity to play, and that's really all you can ask for, regardless of where it is.
That's the most Canadian thing I've ever heard, by the way. That fucking TSN is on TV in the grocery store. People are watching TSN in the grocery store. How Canadian is that, Michael Peca?
I know. Terrible.
I love it.
Your aunt finds out before you do. I love it.
Oh, man. Yeah, I think my buddies did, too. I was on the ice. No phones back then. What's it like? You're a captain, a big part of your career, and it's kind of explain what makes a good captain. We've had a lot of guys on that wore the C on the podcast, but I want to hear how you handle different things, young guys, this, that, the other, the organization, the coaches. How'd you handle that throughout those years?
Yeah, I think my captaincy from Buffalo, even and then through the years in Long Island with the Islanders, was the transitional thing. Because when I first became a captain at 24, we still had a lot of veterans on our team, and I was never a very vocal guy. I mean, I'd say things from time to time, but I think I just tried to play the right way and be the right example on and off the ice more than anything. And then you hope that as you start to gain that respect, then your voice will have a little bit more behind it. And then as I started to get a little bit older, I started, I love doing the mentoring thing. Really. Taking young guys aside and all, but I think at the end of the day, being a captain, in a lot of respects, is just having the letter on your shirt. I mean, I think leadership is a group thing, and a lot of times, even when I coach the junior team, I try and teach the 16-year-old that he's got just as much of a voice as the 20-year-old in the locker room, because the team is just as much his. And I think you try. So I like to delegate. I like to give everybody some autonomy in the leadership process, and I think the coaches I had allowed me to do that, and it just worked. I think I've always been a positive guy. I think that helped in my kind of role as a captain. But I don't know. I think it's I think if you lead by example, then it gives you the authority to use your voice. But if you don't lead by example and you got a letter on your jersey, as you know, Cam, guys are going to look at you like, "What? I'm not going to listen to you. You're not even doing it. Why do you get a letter on your jersey?" And you see that sometimes with teams where they just make their best player the captain by default, and sometimes that can have a bad effect on a team.
Well, yeah, anytime I spoke up in the locker room, the guys would tell me to shut the fuck up. But I would say, no, but any young kid that you have to kind of like smack around a little bit, I'm saying that word or that term loosely, but anybody that you're like, okay, this kid's out of control, come down here, we got to sit down, and we got to talk about things because you're out of control.
Nothing really out of control. I think, as the years wore on, the game was changing, and I think the greatest example with that was, I wasn't even captain. I was an assistant captain in Columbus, and we had some really, really good young players. I mean, Jacob Voracek and Derek Brassard and Filatov, and our goalie. I can't even remember the goalie's name. He won the friggin' Rookie of the Year, for crying out loud. Mason. So I think the challenge became teaching these kids. One or two like to stay up late and drink vodka Red Bulls and play video games till 4 a.m. and you can see it the next day. Some guys just didn't do their off ice workouts or ride the bike, so it almost becomes a bit of a, you don't want to babysit, but it's again mentoring these kids and teach them what it means to be a professional hockey player at this level. And I think that's kind of what it gets to. I mean, I never really had an issue with a player where he was out of line character-wise or did things off the ice or in the locker room that was out of control, where you had to really address them privately. I mean, there were guys that were a little outlandish in the locker room and off the ice, but I think collectively the older guys, we dealt with that as we had to.
I want to go back to your time in Buffalo, though. I mean, there's so many different storylines we can go through. from your time as a Buffalo Sabre, but even during the Stanley Cup final, like getting to the final, losing the way that you did, playing with Dominik Hasek all those years. I mean, just the experience like of being around a great goaltender like that, then getting to the Stanley Cup final, losing the way that you did. And we see Holly all the time, by the way. So he gives us his version of whether or not the goal should have counted or not. But is that still difficult for you to kind of look back and see how that played out, or do you move on from that pretty quickly?
Well, I mean, it took us a while. I mean, it was a lot. I think most of our first go around in the Stanley Cup final, so it was just tough to deal with, and it was tough because it was like a boomerang effect. Like we didn't know right away. We just lost, so we were all distraught, and then found out that after the game, if proper protocol had taken place, the goal probably would have been disallowed. But it's hard to fault anybody for that because. In the Stanley Cup final, the NHL officials control the Zamboni door. They want to capture the moment. You can't capture the moment with the protocol the way it was. So, I mean, I agree with what Paulie said after the game. It was a bad rule and they didn't call it or whatever it was. But, I mean, there were goals in that playoffs that were disallowed that were, a guy on a breakaway that would slide into the crease, pull the puck out and score, and was called back. So it was tough to deal with, but we did get over it. We did get over it. The fans still haven't gotten over it, but the players got over it.
Well, they haven't seen much lately. A long
my
time.
God, there's so much drama going on.
What's your take on Buffalo?
What is happening?
Yeah, what's happening up there? Like, what do you see anything? I mean, you're up there all the time. Do you see anything that you could really pinpoint and say you're doing this wrong? This is why you've been suffering.
Yeah, I think the Paguls are still trying to just find their way. I think. It took them a few go-arounds with the Buffalo Bills, and now they got a staff in there that they trust, and they're all on the same page, and they're heading in the right direction. I think they hoped that Jason Bauer was going to be that guy, and there was just some differences of philosophy. But I think Ralph Kruger's the ace in the hole. I think with Kevin Adams, they've got somebody that they trust. He's been around with them for the last 7-8 years, so. Even talking to the players, they like the direction with Ralph Kruger, and I think having a coach that they believe in now, because I don't think they believed in Phil Housley, I don't think they believed in Dan Bilesma, but they've got a coach that they 100% believe in, and that means a lot for the players in the locker room.
But Pex, you kind of have that look. You got the perfect hair, the sideburns, the glasses.
Yes.
Like you look like you're Harvard educated.
Handsome.
Why aren't you working for an NHL team? Like, has anybody called you and said, "Hey," and you've got the resume to go along with it? You were a captain, like we said. Like, had you thought about it? Do you want to work for an NHL team? Like, what are you doing?
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm now looking to get back into it. I think, it's funny. When I retired, I had an opportunity to get right into coaching right away as an assistant coach, and for me, I needed to get away from the game, and my son was young, and I was tired of traveling all the time. So we moved back to Buffalo, got involved in youth hockey, and I just felt youth hockey was just so dysfunctional in this area. And I spent 10, 11 years trying to get it to a place that I was comfortable walking away from it. And that's kind of where I'm at now, and really looking to get myself into the pro game and start trying to help an organization win a Stanley Cup.
Well, we could use some sex appeal on this podcast if you got some time. We'll hire you in 2 seconds. Trust me. I kind of you always talk about coaching juniors, and there's a lot of shit going around with hazing and things like that. I never really went through. I mean, little things here and there. Go to a bowling alley, dress like a woman. Your ball sack's hanging out.
He does that anyway.
I do that anyway. I don't give a shit. But a lot of weird shit that's coming out with guys in the hazing. Did you ever go through that? Did you ever see anything coaching or playing?
Nothing coaching. I mean, so my rookie year in Sudbury, Brandon Combry and I were put through a little bit of an ordeal, and it was uncomfortable. It was weird, but I never once felt like I was being, violent. I mean, it's just I grew up thinking, okay, this is or at the moment, okay, this is part of the initiation process, but I don't know what it was like in other teams and other leagues and how other experiences went, but I think if there was nothing in my experience that would deem me to want to file a lawsuit or doing like that. I mean, it is what it is. It didn't impact my life, and I didn't have any mental health issues to kind of circle back and feel like maybe that caused it or that caused it. So I just kind of lived with it, dealt with it, and moved on from it. But when I was a veteran, I never allowed those things to happen.
Did you like Dominic Hasek, by the way? We've had Matthew Barnaby on here who didn't like the guy for whatever reason, but I mean he was so good. You could tell even if you didn't know him that he's a little bit different. But did you like him personally? Like, were you guys close?
I really love the guy, and I loved him because I respected him a great deal. I mean, a lot of things. I mean, the one thing people always see in Dominic Hasek is just how good and how he revolutionized the position of goaltender. I mean, he was outstanding. What people didn't see is how hard he worked in practice and how hard he worked in the gym to perfect his game and how good of a teammate he was. You know, I think the whole Barnaby-Hasek thing started to go sideways when, you know, there was just a rift between Muckler and Teddy Nolan, and Hasek was the Muckler guy and LaFontaine was the Nolan guy, and everybody thought it was Dom that got Teddy fired, and it wasn't. But, you know, I remember, you know, that moment where Matt got mad at Dom and, you know, that first training camp, and it just went south from there. But, you know, Dom as a professional is a one of a kind.
Is he the best goalie ever?
I think he's the best goalie ever. You know, I always look at it, who did something to change the position? You know, if you look at how athletic goalies are now, I mean, I know Patty Waugh and Marty Brodeur is up there too, because Marty Brodeur didn't play a traditional, you know, butterfly style, and he played the puck so well. I think Marty Brodeur could be the guy if Dom was able to play the puck, because he couldn't at all. You know, I think he would be number one in my book, but Marty Brodeur probably is still number one to me.
Yeah, all right, he's got more points than me every single year we play together. By
he
the way.
does have more points.
Embarrassing.
More points than Cam. All right, let's get to the contract. I mean, 2001, and you sit out a full year. I mean, this is almost unheard of in professional sports. I mean, how bad could it have gotten, Michael Peca, for you to not play, and you're the captain of the team? I mean, was this uncomfortable for you? Like, walk us through that season, what that was like for you.
Damn.
Yeah, so it started where late the season before I had retained Newport Sports and Don Meehan to represent me, and so I knew in doing that there was some bad blood with the whole LaFontaine thing and the way everything went down with the Sabres and Pat LaFontaine. But to just wrap it up and not really kind of blab on about it a long time is the owners of the Sabres at the time, the Regan family, knew that my wife was from here, and they knew I loved the city and I had deep roots in the city. So their whole mentality was, you know, fuck Michael, he wants to be here. He'll take whatever we give him. Now, granted, I didn't have the greatest year going into my contract year. So there's something to be said for them wanting to play that game. But what really stirred me and made me not want to play for this team, especially under these owners anymore, they owned a 24-hour a sports news channel on TV and on radio. It's called Empire Sports.
Yeah. Oh God.
And it was 24 hours a day, just blasting me, just totally blasting me. Like some of the stuff wasn't even true. And guys I knew that were working there were told that they couldn't do coverage of like football or different things. We have to focus on this, and it just became this propaganda wing. And so at that point, I'm like, I ended up calling Darcy for a year and saying, I'm not going to play for this team ever again. I can't put on the jersey and respect myself after everything that's gone on. And then I just made that decision and played for Canada in the Spengler Cup and played in the World Championships and look forward to a new start somewhere.
But weren't you skating too? And then the guys would be skating after you, and then you'd see them. And were they kind of pissed? Like, come on. I'm sure they understood the situation, but, you know, you're a leader, and they needed you. Were they like, fuck this?
So, yeah, like a couple times a week, they'd be at the rink out in the suburbs, and I'd see them, and Lindy would pull me into the friggin' maintenance closet once a week and say, hey, how's it going? You know, we need you signed. So it was awkward. Because we did have a good team. You know, we did have a pretty good team. And, you know, the story I tell a lot of people that don't know about that year is, so about maybe a week before the trade deadline, Dominic Hasek calls me and says, hey, Pex, what's going on? You know, and so I laid it out to him. I said, well, Dom, look, these three teams have made really good offers to the Buffalo Sabres. They're not going to trade me. They told all these teams that they're going to make me sit. And he didn't believe me, so he called his agent, and his agent did some due diligence and found out that those three offers were in fact made, because Darcy Regier had a meeting with Dave Anderchuk, James Patrick, Doug Gilmour, and Dominic Hasek, four of our older guys, telling them that, he's tried everything, he can't move me, all this different stuff. And then when Dominic found out through his agent what had happened, that's when Dominic had the meeting with John Regas and Darcy Tucker and said at the end of the season, he's no longer going to play for the Buffalo Sabres because of them lying to them. And then that's why, if you remember, when Kasparaitis scored the overtime goal, I think it was the second round against Buffalo, Hasek skated right off the ice and then worked his deal to.
Cam and Strick Podcast here for our boy Dan Bellman with Bellman.com.
Yeah, baby.
You need some new wheels? Why not get a Cadillac, a Buick, a GMC? Yeah. Head out to Troy today. And again, don't forget about Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram right across the street.
No doubt.
Right there in Troy, Missouri. Visit them online. Check out their new selection, the pre-owned selection, the best service you will find anywhere in the country. Bellman.com. BEHLMANN.com. Get yourself some new wheels in time for the summer.
Yeah.
Now back to the interview. And you're just sitting back. I mean, you got Donnie Meehan. I mean, listen, we know those guys, obviously, from Newport, that whole crew. Like, they couldn't get you out of Buffalo. Like, what was it like just sitting down? Like, were you watching NHL games? Were you following the Buffalo Sabres? And how excruciating was it for you to not be able to play, considering how much you love to play the game?
It's hard. I mean, I think I was 20 freaking 5. Like, I was mid-20s. Like, I was young, so it wasn't like, my body needed the rest or anything like that. I think, I'm a creature of habit, so I think I just created such a structured daily regimen of being in the gym and being at the rink and keeping myself occupied that I try to distract myself, but I did watch. And then when I started watching the playoffs, it's such a conflict of emotion to cheer for your buddies on the Buffalo Sabres because at the same time you hate the owners and you want them to lose. So it was a very conflicting moment for sure.
So they trade you to the Islanders at the following draft, right? And it wasn't until the second day of the draft. But,
yes, right.
But the deal that they got from the Islanders was less than what they could have gotten at the trade deadline. Like, do you know what was offered at the trade deadline? How different was the deal?
I think at the trade deadline, the offer was Rafi Torres and Tim Connolly. Because I remember Mike Milbury called me. He had permission to reach out to me to see where I was physically and everything else. And then I think the same deal was made the first day of the draft that year. Because I remember looking at my wife saying, as soon as Phoenix, because Phoenix was heavily involved too, as soon as Phoenix made their first round pick, I looked at my wife and said, I may fucking miss a whole second year here. If they're not going to move me today, I may not play again. And I heard some funny stories of, GMs that were at the draft that time and everything else, but apparently it just got really ugly in the Sabres draft room. And somebody said, well, Milbury will make the trade. And somebody's like, he's left. He's gone. He's not in town anymore. So the deal ended up getting made with, I can't remember the gentleman's name. He was the assistant GM of the New York Islanders. And thank God, day 2 of the draft, I got moved and was able to start focusing on something.
Was Donnie going crazy? We're going to move on, but was Don Meehan, was he going nuts? Because, I mean, how hard was he trying to get you out of there during the course of the season?
He was trying really hard. I mean, I don't want to divulge what was being offered by 3 different teams, but the fact that Buffalo didn't make those trades was beyond comprehension. I mean, they would have had a legitimate shot of winning the Stanley Cup that year. But you know what? I mean, I think they got caught up in the emotion of it a little bit as well. And we would talk, and he would just shrug his shoulders and say, Michael, it's, you can't make sense of it. You really can't make sense of it.
Were you that far apart on the negotiations in terms of the money and the term, or did it get so personal that it didn't matter what they were offering, like you weren't going to put that jersey back on?
You know what? It really wasn't that far, relatively speaking, but I think it just got to a point where, there was so much emotion involved at the time and for different reasons that I don't think anybody was willing to come off their number at all. So regardless of how close it may have been, it still seemed like it was so far away.
Yeah. Any other questions for him about that, Andy? Got any fucking more? 15 more? Poor guy. We'll move on. Let me talk something. Well, this is kind of negative too, but oh well. Islanders, Leafs. Was this 0-2, that series where you guys were absolutely murdering each other? I mean, probably the most physical series I've ever witnessed in the NHL. I mean, it was nonstop. Everybody hitting everybody. And, of course, Darcy Tucker has a little cheap shot on you. You blows your knee out. And they made a rule after that, didn't they? They made a clipping rule after that, I believe. So tell us about that series and how you and Darcy became actually good buddies after that.
Yeah, it was actually probably one of the most enjoyable physical series I'd ever been a part of. I mean, energy, mainly because in the island they hadn't seen the playoffs for a long time, so their fans were just rabid. I mean, it was crazy. But for me, being a Toronto kid and being back in Toronto, last time I played a playoff game in Toronto, we beat them in the '99 conference final. So I had good memories about it. But the whole thing with Darcy and I started, I think it was first shift of the game. You know, I'm down in my zone, and he tried to run me, and I gave him one of those stiff shoulders, and then started chirping him and all that stuff. And I said, "Kid, you're not big enough to take a run at me. You know, go back and pick on somebody else." And then it just escalated. It just continued to escalate. But it was a bit of a low hit. It wasn't. He didn't go low. I mean, he just bent over at the waist, and I tried to hop out of the way. It was a freak thing. But I was really mad for a long time, mainly because you're just wrapped up in the emotion of the playoffs. It had a bit of it to do with what happened, but it was the effect of what happened more than what happened itself, if that makes any sense. It's because this series was going so good, and we had a team that was, we beat every good team that year, and we're the 5th seed, and we just felt like we had a chance to make a run. And then I had to watch it. Not only did I have to watch it, I knew I had friggin' surgery in 2 weeks, and I was going to be rehabbing for a while, and it was just tough. It was tough. But obviously the irony is fast forward to the summer of '06, and I'm in Oakville meeting with John Ferguson Jr. and Paul Maurice about signing with the Toronto Maple Leafs, and they were asking me about my relationship with Darcy, who I'd actually talked to at the NHLPA meetings a couple of months before, and I told him, I said, "Look, everything's fine." When I look back before talking with Darcy, it's like I did some fucking crazy shit to people, and I'd hate to think that they held a grudge for more than maybe a day or two. So we actually did. We became really good buddies. Our kids were in the same class and went to school together and became really good buddies. So life comes full circle. It's a great thing about our sport.
Yeah, no, I love that. And he told a similar story, too, when he came on.
No, he said he hated
us.
you, actually.
No.
Oh, we hate each other. We had a good scrap in Tampa when he was there.
Yeah.
That's down the pipe right there. They were throwing heat on each other.
Were you a big talker on the ice, though? Because even after you laid out Solani, earlier in your career, back when you were with Vancouver, as we were talking about, didn't Dallas Drake come over and say something to you, and you had a nice little comeback for him?
Yeah, well, I was. If I said something, it was probably snidey. I don't really remember what I said to Dallas, but the most scared I've ever been in my whole career, and I rarely ever got scared. So when I hit Solani, I missed 6 weeks. The second game back, we've had a home game against, I think, LA, and then our first road game was in Winnipeg. And so I'm not scared initially, but like in the room, there's no iPods or there's no we're listening to a friggin' local rock station on the radio. And these DJs keep talking about people come to the arena to watch Domi and Chris King and Stefan Quintel and, Dave Manson kill Mike Peca for hitting Timo Solani. So I'm like, what the fuck? What's going to happen tonight? I had no idea what was going to happen tonight. So my first shift is to the left of their goalie in Winnipeg zone. And I get on the ice, and Pat Quinn, I guess for my protection, puts on Tim Hunter and Dana Merzen and Gerald Diduck. So I go and take the face off, and I look over my shoulder, and Winnipeg makes a change, and they send out those 4 guys and Dallas Drake to take the face off. And I can't remember what Dallas Drake said, and but all I remember is I won the face off. The puck came around, got chipped out of the zone. I covered up for our right D, and the puck came to Dallas Drake at his blue line, and I hit him so hard that I think he was in the air doing a helicopter from the blue line to the red line. And then the puck went down to the other end, and all I remember is I had 3 guys on me punching me and stuff. And then that was the end of it. And then nobody even said anything. Nobody ever did anything. And I was thinking, maybe because I stood up and I did something, and they're going to leave me alone now. But then we travel commercials, so we're in a bar that night, and I'm thinking, okay, these fans are going to be really obnoxious. It's going to be brutal, and even the fans are like, "Hey, dude, we hated you. You fucking stepped up. You took out Drake. He goes, and so I went from the scariest moment to kind of a cool moment I had with players and fans in a bar. It's weird.
Okay, I lied. That's the most Canadian thing I ever heard.
Why?
Because they love them. They're being nice to them. They're so
Canadians
nice.
are fucking awesome, man. Yeah, people here would just beat the hell out of you here in St. Louis. I'll tell you that right now, man. Well, you got Domi again, though. You got Domi out of the box.
Oh, my God.
Hey, don't lie to me, Pex. You waited a little bit.
Did you wait?
You waited a little bit.
Before you stepped on the ice.
I did. I saw – I can't remember the big Russian right defenseman for Toronto, but I do remember seeing him go out, and I saw Domi take that, that game day morning skate turn towards his off wing. And I did. My time probably expired a second and a half before that, and I just waited. And I could have gotten him really, really good. I just wanted to clip him.
Mm-hmm.
But then I saw him in a restaurant in Toronto, a couple months later, and we had a chuckle about it. I'm glad it was just a chuckle because
oh my God,
not him chucking me, but
yeah, he's tough to deal
with. The thing is with that is after my rookie year in Toronto, I was skating in Toronto, and Ty Domi would be there skating, and I remember sitting in the locker room with him. And I'm like, oh my God, this is so uncomfortable because all he wanted to do was like kill me. And he's like, hey, he goes, hey, we're good, man, we're good. Because I think he must have saw like I had no color in my face trying to time my skates.
Yeah,
he's like, nah, kid, we're good. It's all good. So thank God.
Yeah, he's tough to deal with too. Like, he's gonna. If you don't fight him or you don't get jumped and just take it, he's gonna catch you with a hit too. And he could hurt you in multiple ways. He's one of those guys, man, that it was a really good hitter, too. So if you didn't fight him, he's going to try to get you. But, hey, man, you did it, dude. Shit.
Hey, so what do the Selke trophies mean to you? I mean, you've won a couple of gold medals, obviously, represent your country. I don't know if anything's bigger than that for your career. But, winning 2 Selke trophies, and we just saw Ryan O'Reilly win the Selke here in St. Louis, who you obviously watched play in Buffalo. It's just crazy turnaround for him. But what does that trophy mean to you?
I think for me personally, it just means that I respected the game enough to play 200 feet. I mean, like I said, I always grew up being an offensive player, but I got to a point when I was like 15, 16 that, look, I don't want to have to sit on the bench when we're up a goal. I want the coach to think I'm a guy that's just as capable of being out there to preserve a 1-goal lead as the guy to go out there and try and get the goal to tie the game. So I really just prided myself on playing 200 feet. I mean, I really appreciated guys like, JR played 200 feet. And he played a physical, high-paced game. And, obviously, as I was getting into my early mid-teens there, watching Doug Gilmour with the Toronto Maple Leafs, be a 100-point guy, but just be a guy that can play in all situations. And I wanted to be that guy. I wanted to be counted on to be in all situations. And then it just evolved. I remember – my second year in Buffalo, it would just happen where Ted Nolan comes up to me before the game and says, hey, you're going to play against Forsberg's line all night. And we beat them. I think our line scored 2 or 3 goals, and it just kind of evolved from there, and it did probably take away a little bit from what I wanted to do offensively because playing against those guys, you can't take as many chances or it ends up in your net. So got a little bit more conservative, but I've got no complaints.
I'm sure you tell these kids too, like I don't care how much skill you have. Everybody has skill. If you could play 200 foot, you could figure out how to get a damn puck off the wall. Maybe even switch to center where you'll make a lot more money and be more valuable. You could play a lot longer, just like Timo Solani did when he was scoring goals, and all of a sudden you kind of played that defensive style when you got older. I mean, you gotta have to push that mindset to these young kids.
Well, it is. It's hard. I mean, you have to convince the kids, but even harder, you have to convince the parents. Like all these kids, like in youth hockey. Like and say they play 50 games and they score 40 goals. Well, they think they're goal scorers.
Yeah.
But the guys who are goal scorers at the National Hockey League in 50 games are scoring 140 goals, 130 goals when they're that age.
Yeah.
There's like they're prolific at it. So it's true. And I had to do it with my own son, who was one of those guys who scored that many goals. And I could just tell. I said he doesn't have pure offensive instincts. He could skate. He was a counterattacker, and he pounced on loose pucks. He has to learn to play at 200 feet and be good on face-offs and finish checks and responsible with the puck. Like you try and do that for these kids because, for the most part, most of them aren't going to get past junior. Even fewer of them are going to get to play college hockey. So if they're going to go there and they're going to go through me, I want to make sure that the coaches that got them knew they got responsible players that, we're going to at least give their teams a chance to win.
Andy Strickland and Cam Jansen here for you for GadgetBuyback.com. Yeah. Gadget Lab, they got a store here locally if you're in St. Louis, 5541 Telegraph Road. Here's the deal. You got an old phone, maybe a cracked tablet. Maybe it's perfect, but it's a little bit older. Turn it in right now. www.gadgetbuyback.com. Upgrade your devices, phones, computers, watches.
Anything.
Doesn't have to be Apple either.
No.
Get those tablets turned in. Again, www.gadgetbuyback.com, 877-772-8880. Now back to the interview. Yeah, and I got to talk about the 06 Stanley Cup final as well, because you were on that team with Edmonton. And, Pronger had just left here, and, knowing him as well as we do, really followed that entire season, and also knowing that he was probably going to get out of there at the end of the year as well. But you guys beat Carolina. If your goalie doesn't get hurt, do you guys beat Carolina? And looking back on that season, like, how good was Pronger? I mean, compared to the rest of the defensemen in the league, like, did you know he was that good prior to playing with him every single day?
No, I mean, not every. I mean, you're right. I mean, to be able to appreciate a player on a daily basis, like obviously going through, the Olympics with him, you see in a tournament format just how good he is, how calm he is in some of the most intense situations. But to see it, over the course of a season and through the Stanley Cup playoffs, I mean, it's special to see. And it's really special to see players of that caliber. And I got to see it with Dominic Hasek. I got to see it with guys like Pat LaFontaine, and it's rare to Matt Sundin. He's in that level of all these Hall of Fame guys that it's really impressive to watch.
Yeah.
But I don't, but going back to the goalie thing, I mean, it's, I look at it two ways. One, I don't think goaltending cost us the series. So it's hard to put that on it. I mean, I would have liked us to have started, I can't even remember our Finnish goalie's name ahead of Ty Conklin initially. Markkinen? Yeah, Conklin got the start initially, and I don't think that helped. Great kid, but but it's just I went through, that one we talked about the '99 final and foot in a crease. I mean, the one with Carolina hurt me for a long, long time because it was Game 7 and we had a chance to win. '99 we just extend the series.
Yeah.
So it was tough to deal with. But I mean, if you look at Carolina's run in the first round. I think Saku Koivu got a stick in the eye and missed part of the series. In round 2, I think New Jersey was up 1-0 and up a goal with 11 seconds left at center. And John Madden wins the draw so clean it goes into his own zone, and Carolina turns it over and wins the game and kind of flips some momentum, gets a split. Against Buffalo, they lose 4 starting or 5 starting defensemen. We lose our goalie. I mean, sometimes the fucking yellow brick road is just meant for one team to walk on and not the other.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think Carolina, I don't think it mattered if we, reincarnated the 80, Edmonton Oilers team. Carolina was destined to win that thing. It's just, that's the only way I was able to kind of come to grips with us losing.
Yeah. It's like the Blues last year, honestly.
It's weird. It's
it's just some teams are destined.
We'll see a team in a couple of weeks do the same damn thing.
Yeah, no, exactly.
Yeah. And the great thing about Ryan O'Reilly too is, so I played my last couple of years of youth hockey with a kid named Billy Bowler, super player. I think he held the record at Windsor for the longest time of points and stuff. But so his first cousin was Ryan O'Reilly, and I ran into his dad a couple of years ago. He goes, "Hey, have you run into Ryan and Cal?" I said, when I saw Cal when I used to do some stuff for the Sabres down in Rochester, and I said, "No, why?" He goes, "Well, they're my nephews. They used to come and watch all your guys' games when they were kids." So when I saw Ryan at a golf tournament, we had a good chuckle about it. But I really love the way that kid plays the game, man.
Yeah, he's a great. You'll love that dude.
Oh my
great
God.
Guy.
Unbelievable work ethic too. Yeah. Hey, listen, we got young kids who listen to this too. Maybe not as many young kids anymore.
Hopefully not.
With Cam's language,
Jeez,
they stopped listening.
I know.
But listen, I know you had some issue whatever with your financial, but I don't want to get into all that. But what advice do you give to young NHL kids, man, who are making this money? Yeah. I mean, they get into the National Hockey League, they start making millions of dollars.
Parents don't know what to do with it.
How do you know, Michael? How do you know who you can trust and who you can't trust?
Well, I mean, it's a good question. I mean, obviously, it goes from you think you trust people, or people would get involved with those people to begin with, and it can go sideways. I think the biggest thing is have layers of how things go through. Don't have one person that you're counting on to making all your decisions. Have some different layers. I think the number one thing is never give anybody signing privileges, the power of attorney that belongs to you and you only, so that everything goes by your eyes. And if you're ever uncomfortable with something, like I said, run it through your agent, run it through another attorney. Like it's good to have layers, because it's a frustrating and sad thing to go through. And going through it, it sucks. But I feel bad too for good friends of mine who were wiped out pretty much clean. And it's. Yeah. It sucks to see them where they are now, thinking they had a life and some stuff to pass on to their family, and now they don't. So it's just be real diligent of who handles it, and always be thorough. Don't ever feel like you're so into your job that you're just going to give somebody full autonomy of what they do. Be involved in it. Learn what's going on, and in some way be involved with it.
And that's great advice. I mean, do you get some of that money back? Like, how does that work? I mean, if somebody, is it just gone when they screw you over like that, or can you get some of that money back?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's a long process. I mean, the guy was convicted 5 years ago, and sentencing still hasn't taken place. And then,
wow.
Then the whole forfeiture and restitution process starts. And if there's assets, great. In our case, it looks like there are some assets where we'll see some restitution, but even that's, can be a year to 2 year process. So, so there might be a little bit of a silver lining at the end of this, but, we'll have to wait and see still.
Last couple for you here, man. I know I'm going to get shit if I don't ask you this question from the fans, because apparently I do this for everybody. But speaking of money, do you have any toys, man? I know you got some time on your hands, and you got a boat. You got anything cool that you bought with some of that money?
Not really. I drive a F-150 Raptor, and I play tons of golf. I think that's what I love to do that, and most of my money just goes into playing golf and golf trips and things like that. No real toys. I'm not a boat guy. I'm not a motorcycle guy. I don't have multiple homes. Just got a good group of buddies. 10 to 15 buddies that would play tons of golf, and I've gotten into amateur golf a little bit too, and trying to get that competitive spirit and. So it's good.
How do you reflect on that Olympic experience? Last question from me. Just playing in the Olympics, being Canadian, playing for Canada, winning the gold medal, like, it has to be up there, one of the best experiences you've ever had.
It was. I mean, in retrospect, to just look back and I'm an Olympic gold medalist. I mean, it's really, sometimes I don't even believe myself when I hear myself say it. But I think. I so love the process of how it happened. I mean, we talked extensively about, the 2000-2001 season that I didn't play, but it gave me the opportunity to play in the Spengler Cup, under Wayne Fleming, who, God rest his soul, passed a few years ago. In that experience, I redislocated my shoulder. I missed a couple games, and they were going to fly me home. I said, look, I didn't come here just to, anyways, we had a great experience. And then I went to the World Championships and played, I think 55 minutes of a hockey game with a shattered left cheekbone because the doctor said it wasn't when I tried to convince him that it was. And I think what it did is, even after missing a season, being involved in that experience, I got the invite to the orientation camp in September, and sitting next to Steve Yzerman, who's my childhood idol. And I mean, for me, winning an Olympic gold medal was unbelievable. The little kid in me, I mean, that's the adult in me, the little kid in me sitting in the locker room with Marilyn Mew and, Joe Sakic and Steve Yzerman and Joe Nieuwendyk and Al McInnes.
Never heard of them. Never heard any of those guys.
Right. I mean, it's just, my line mates were Joe Nieuwendyk and Brendan Shanahan. I mean, it's just, like, it's hard sometimes to just, let alone winning a gold medal, is the guys that I actually had the pleasure and honor to play with was unbelievable. I mean, Brendan Shanahan and I, we had video game Galaga Wars every night in the food hall eating McDonald's. I mean, it was just,
you guys weren't out and about. You and Shanny weren't out and about?
Well, it was out on, we were at the University of Utah campus was were the dorms. And so we would go down and grab some, Big Macs and play Galaga, because we both grew up in Chestwood Arena in Toronto for the Toronto Red Wings. And, grew up playing video games and hockey, I guess.
That's what the kids do now.
Yeah, that gold medal game, one of the best hockey games I've ever seen, ever.
Awesome.
It was a great game, but so I don't know if you guys have ever heard this story. It's one of the greatest coaching moments I've ever experienced in my entire life, and it's the greatest example of coaching by not overcoaching. So we're up 3-2 in the second intermission, and the room is really calm. I mean, some of these guys have been in these situations a million times, and to them, it's no big deal. So you can hear Pat Quinn starting to make his way around the corner. He's got the cigar cough, and he's coming around the corner. His glasses are at the tip of his nose, and he's got his long kind of note card. And he's looking at his card. He's looking around the room. He's looking at his card. He's scanning the room again. And finally, he just crumples up his notes. He throws in the garbage, takes his glasses off, and goes, "What the fuck am I going to tell you guys you don't already know? Just go win the game." Mm-hmm. And the third period kind of went our way. I mean, it was such a great moment of a coach who was comfortable enough in his own skin that he didn't feel like he had to have his moment as a coach and give this inspirational, technical second intermission speech. He's just like, "You guys got it. You don't need me. Go ahead and do it." And I thought it was brilliant. I thought it was brilliant by Pat Quinn.
That's Craig Berube style right there.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I love it, man. Hey, listen.
You're the man, dude.
Thanks for doing this, Michael. I mean, honestly, good luck with everything. You had a great career. We wanted to get you on and really appreciate you opening up with us, too.
Appreciate it, bud.
No problem, guys. Thanks for having me on.
Right on, Dex.
Take care.
Cheers.
That was Mike Peca. I told you, Cam. I fucking told you.
Yeah, you hit that one out of the park, man. That was a good get by you, baby. Good get by you.
Took him a little while. Well, it took him a little while to, I don't want to say a little while, but at first he kind of came in slow, and then all of a sudden he brought it though, man. He told some great stories. This guy.
Yeah, he's a cool cat. He's a really cool cat. I wonder, again, he's just so he's somewhat of a recluse. I feel like, but maybe in Buffalo he's all over the place. But I feel like when you're that big in the NHL and you kind of don't, your name doesn't pop up consistently. I don't know. You're kind of like, what are you doing? So now we know what he's doing. I'm surprised that he hasn't taken a role in a bigger, in the hockey community somewhere, man, because he's a very intelligent man, has done a lot, been a leader, captains his whole life, in different situations. I don't know, man. Leadership skills. I'd hire that guy. We told him we wanted to bring him on the podcast.
I know. I want to hire him now. Yeah, exactly. Make our new co-host. But this guy made some money, Cam. But we didn't dig too deep into it. But he was okay talking about it. But when you have I couldn't imagine making the money these guys make, and you have a financial advisor, and somebody without you even knowing is just essentially, getting rid of your entire nest egg.
Yeah.
I mean,
your blood, sweat.
How would you handle that, man? I would not be able to keep myself together if somebody did that to me.
Well, there's not much you can do. I mean, you could, what do you're going to sue him? Hopefully he goes to jail, but what do you do? I mean, if you're a heavy hitter, you might make some phone calls, get some pipe hitting sons of bitches to take care of it. But then you're going to jail. That you can't do that shit anymore, man. It's not the 70s, dude. You can't, so what do? You get them, you put them in jail, but that's, well, you know what you do is you keep your eyes open. Mm-hmm. You have to understand, you got to know what's going on with everything. You can't just say, here you go, take care of it. Kind of like what I do with Kate. But, with those guys, man, you really do have to, you got to know the guy and you got to stay on the ball because maybe he's making decisions that you aren't comfortable with. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
There's bad people out there, man. That's just the bottom line. And
Selfish
you think
people,
you trust them. You think you trust them. You think you have a relationship with them. And for somebody to do that to somebody else, man, that is probably like
it's evil. You're fucking evil,
man. You're an evil person.
Exactly. You're lazy. You're greedy. You're evil.
But it sounds like he's going to be able to get some of that money back and recover some of that money. So we hope he does. And we thank Mike Peca, man. He had a great career, just a warrior, great player. I love how he and Darcy Tucker, man. I mean, that was like, you think about that incident, how he took. Did you think that was a dirty hit or no?
Fuck yes. Fuck yeah. Hell
How about
yeah.
the attitude, though? How about the attitude of listen, I can't hold a grudge, man. I've done that to so many people throughout the course of my
know.
career where I've hurt people, whatever.
There it is.
And now it happened to me. It is what it is. It's part of the game.
Fuck, man. Hey, when you crush guys like that, man, sometimes you get, mine happened to get me back in a weird, bizarre way with my own teammate hit me. You know what I mean? Like, I knew I was going to get it somehow. And I was just kind of wondering, it's always in the back of your head because, again, you put that much damage on people throughout your career, you're going to get hit back. That's the hockey karma, man. It always happens that way.
Is that when you swallowed your tongue?
Yep. We should do a fucking breakdown on that. You want to, Andy? Wouldn't that be cute?
We may have to.
God. Oh, my God. It's so horrible.
Speaking of breaking down, if you do break down, make sure you get Car Shield.
Yes.
And make sure you have the right protection, dude. I tell you this all the time. Every single episode we tell you. We hope people are taking our advice, and we know some of you out there are, and we appreciate that for sure. 800-857-2481, carshield.com. Mention the promo code CAM, you're going to save 10%. So listen, it's cheap as hell anyway. Now you're going to save more money when you mention the promo code CAM. As embarrassing as that is to say CAM, okay, you'll save 10%. So be sure to check that out, carshield.com. Save 10%, but mention the promo code CAM, 800-857-2481. Of course, gadgetbuyback.com, CAM, 877-772-8880. You looking to trade in an old phone or tablet? Did you break your phone? Is it cracked? Get it fixed. Don't walk around with a cracked phone. Gadgetbuyback.com.
Don't pull that shit.
Check out that website, 877-772-8880. Bellman.com. Again, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram on one side of the street in Troy, Missouri. Cadillac, Buick, GMC on the other side. Check out that new Escalade. Cadillac's making some new cars. They got the pre-owned inventory, some new inventory as well. BEHLMANN.com. Check them out online. Cope24.com. What up, Renee? COPE24.com. Check them out. Changing our parenting experience. And, of course, our friends over there with hockeytraining.com. These guys have just mastered the ability as a men's league hockey player. Could you imagine as a men's league player, now you're training like a hockey player? You never trained your entire life. You always wonder, how come I didn't make it? How come I didn't get to the next level? Well, you didn't fucking train like a hockey player. Now you can. Hockeytraining.com. If you're a men's league player out there, check it out. Get yourself on a program. Do it from your house. Improve your play. Don't embarrass yourself on a Tuesday or Wednesday night.
Don't. Because you're not getting invited to the alumni skate then. You're not. You might, if you get this training, you might get the call up. You might get the call up.
And if you're a hockey
Andy.
Yeah, if you're a hockey parent, though, listen, you want to do the best for your kid. Make sure they have the proper training. Give them the best opportunity to be good at something they're passionate about. And they can obviously become a better hockey player by checking out the videos over there at hockeytraining.com. Customize the package that best suits the needs for your kid. All right, this has been episode number 58. Mike Peca, man, on the Cam and Strick Podcast.